Charlie got the mic, he's dropping facts all day. Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the Bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums.
All right, guys, the Blitz is back. I'm Charlie Winkle, and I was thinking we might have all three of us back this week. Anthony made it in, but Josh, he had so much fun in Florida last week that he decided to make his 1 week vacation. He turned it into a 2-week vacation. He left Florida, but he didn't come home. He won't even tell us where he's at. He just keeps sending us pictures, clear blue water, $1 million yachts, white sand beaches. I mean, he even called us peasants in one of the texts. I mean, I think it said something like, you peasants need to get back to work so I can get back to the beach. He won't tell us where he's at. So I don't know. I'm guessing like sailing the Mediterranean or something. I don't know. Those beaches and that water was pretty clear. Anthony, you got any guesses on where he's at?
Maybe he's out helping Coach Pope do some recruiting here. So hopefully he can help him out.
Well, where's he going? To Italy or something? Is he trying to find? Maybe he's trying to find
players. Wherever they got players, beggars aren't choosers at this point.
Yeah, who knows where he's at? But Josh will be back one of these days. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he just stays on vacation. Last week we touched on the Final Four. Anthony was in Disney World, which some people would call hell, but Anthony loves it. How was Disney World, Anthony? I talked to Rex, and he said y'all did not have breakfast with Mickey. That's disappointing. You go to Disney, you got to have breakfast with Mickey and Minnie.
So a lot of people can't say this, but I forget what time it was. Rex, if he was with us, it was a baby. But one time we actually got to eat dinner in top of the castle. And I tell you a true story, like when you buy the food plan, you get like 1 credit a day for dinner, 1 credit a day for lunch, and then a snack. Well, you know, these credits are pretty expensive. You pay a lot for the food plan, but on our last night, we ate in top the castle with the characters like at the very top of it, like halfway through the trip. But on our last day, we went to use our last dinner food credit at Rainforest Cafe at downtown Disney, and we didn't have one. And I said, well, you need to go check that. We had enough for every day. The character meal up top the castle, it took 2 food credits. So
surprised that didn't take 5 food credits.
Yeah, no, it was a cool experience. It was like, you know, I know a lot of people don't like Disney. Some people really like it. Me and my family, we like it. I think we all enjoy it. Mother-in-law went this time, had a really good time. She actually did really well. I was worried about the walking with her being in her 60s, but she toughed it out. But I think when you get there, the energy is just really good. And even if you're not energized, kind of the good energy kind of builds on you. I will say out of all the times that I've been, there were a few things that kind of were down under construction. The Rock and Roll roller coaster, of course, is getting redone to the Muppets because of the trouble that Tyler got in. So they're doing that to the Muppets, same roller coaster. But so that was shut down over at Magic Kingdom. The railroad was being shut down for refurbishment. They're redoing it. They did have the old Splash Mountain back open, which first time we got to ride that. The Tiana's Bayou, they did a good job with the redo. As much as I was kind of sad to see Splash Mountain go, the redo was nice. And the new ride everybody been talking about, which I hadn't rode, it was at Epcot. I think it's been out a couple years now, but we hadn't rode it. Gardens of the Galaxy, really cool concept. It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster indoors. It's got all kinds of videos, just, you know, X-Men stuff, Guardians of the Galaxy, or Marvel, that is. But as you're doing the roller coaster, the cart you're in is spinning. So it's kind of new technology where you're riding a roller coaster, and as you're going down and around curves, the cart itself is also spinning. So it's kind of doing 2 different moves at that point. So, but we had a good time, man. We did.
So you said Epcot. You know what I'm going to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Spaceship Simulator. Is it still there?
It's still there. My son and daughter rode it. Not me.
And you did not ride it. So you took my advice. You remembered, because I've talked about this before. It fucked my whole day up, Anthony. So you didn't take. What about Katie? Katie didn't ride it either?
No, we had heard about it. And
No,
then you said it.
you
I
always
told her,
paid
I
me
said,
about it, didn't you?
I said, Charlie talked about it. And we just got done riding. We rope dropped. That means you get there first thing we open so you can get to the rides fast. We did Guardians and Test Track back to back before the public could get in because we're staying on property. So you get in like an hour early. So we knocked out like 2 of the bigger rides first thing. Well, at the third ride at that point is that ride. And there's not a lot of wait for that ride because a lot of people don't mess with it. But for those that don't know, there's a intense side, a non-intense side. And essentially what it is, I think it's called Spaceship Earth. And essentially NASA created it and it's supposed to simulate what it feels like to get launched into outer space in a ship. But they have an intense side, a not intense side. Of course, my son and my daughter did the intense. And I tell you, Rex, he was down for about 15 minutes. And that was kind of hard for him because he's kind of proud and he didn't want me to know that he was down, but you could see he was down. My daughter, she tough through it, but she's pretty mentally tough. You said you had a hard time with it, Charlie?
It ruined my whole day. It really did.
Yeah.
It just had me feeling weird. Like, I mean, I didn't get sick, but I felt like I was going to get sick all day. It got me feeling like I feel when I ride something that goes round and round.
Yeah. I don't mess with round and round stuff.
I don't either. I can ride the roller coasters all day, but the round and round stuff messes me up. I don't know if that's what it is, but I'm convinced that that's the only way they can get you to feel the way that you feel on that ride is just to spin you in a million miles an hour. I don't know. But Anthony, that thing messed me up. You get in a little capsule. The capsule is pretty spooky in itself. It's very small and they shut the front of it down on you and the screen is basically right in front of you. So the walls behind you, you're in a seat. There's like, I don't know, 5 or 10 of them. I'm not sure. I can't remember how many people in a row, but it's just one row and a screen right in front of you and it's all closed in and it tilts you back and you're just laying straight back and it blasts off. The screen looks like you're looking up in the sky, and it's a simulator like you're getting blasted off in a space shuttle. And it messed me up big time.
Is it something like, remember when we were younger? I think they still got them at the fairs, and it goes round and round. It puts you up against the wall, and then the really kids that could handle it, they could crawl on the walls. I never could crawl on the walls. I was lucky to be alive
You
when I
didn't
got
even
out.
need a seatbelt. You didn't even need a seatbelt for those things. You just
Uh,
stood there, and the momentum stuck you to the wall. I feel
is it,
like it's got to be that times like
damn.
I don't know what the number is. A lot times a
I,
lot.
I'll ride any ride. We're kind of ride people. I can't wait to go to Cedar Point with our baseball. We are ride people. My whole family, we've always liked roller coasters, kind of that kind of stuff. But I have the one rule now is that I don't ride things that go round and round. I don't want to get sick. There's too many other really fun things that I wanted to do at the park to ruin my day. And that was kind of the first thing in the morning for us. Like you said, it's when you first come in the park. I wouldn't mind maybe trying it late at night. But even then, dude, like you look forward to these vacations, you spend a decent amount of money on them. I don't even want to ruin one evening. I don't want to ruin one evening, but I will say this. We got to the Magic Kingdom. You know, you go to different parks different days, but Magic Kingdom's the main park, the OG park. And we got there. I think we woke up at like 6. We took the little bus at the resort over there, quick bus ride. Uh, and we got there at like 6:30 to rope drop it, to be first in line. So, we could go hurry up and go ride some rides. That's the best way to knock out the long wait lines is to get there early. But so we rope drop it and we got back to the hotel that night at 11:30. So pretty much getting there at like 6:30 to 11:30. You do the math, that's about 17 hours at the park. That's a long time at a park, man, especially with your mother-in-law that's in her 60s. So tough, tough, tough.
It's a long day anywhere,
Dude, my
much less.
feet were hurting. My feet were literally hurting. I don't hurt like that. I work for a living. Like I get tired, I get fatigued, but my feet, I bought a brand new pair of Brooks, the Hyperon Maxes. I mean, the best of the best. I feel like walking shoes, and my feet were still hurting.
So I know you get the fast passes these days. How are the lines at Disney?
Okay,
And
so
real quick before we do move on, Epcot, move that ride to the end of the day somehow, some way. You got to move that shit. But yeah, how overall in all the parks, just in general, I've been to Disney a handful of times, and I'm with you, Anthony. I actually like the experience. I like the rides. I like,
Yeah,
when you're doing stuff, but there's a lot of stuff about Disney that I don't like,
sure,
and
me
the lights
too.
are one of them. One time we went to Disney, I had, uh, my my brother had a broken arm or something, so he got the fast pass and the whole family. It was good for the whole family. So
So
that was
they've cut some of that out. They've cut so
did they?
yeah, because so that's a big gripe that's going on right now. You're hearing about it on social media that they call it the DOS, DAS. They call it the DOS. And I guess it's for disabled people, anybody, whatever. So people essentially if you have somebody disabled or with some kind of special need, or I guess your brother had a hurt arm. I know my daughter and them did it when they were on their softball trip. They had a girl that was hurt and they act like she was a little bit more hurt than than what she was, and so they could get it. But essentially, it's the mega fast pass. You can walk to the front of the line, anything. So you know what happened. People start gaming the system. They start gaming the system, taking advantage of it. So now Disney like makes you interview for it, like literally, because it's like a pretty much they charge for fast pass now. So it used to be years ago when we first started going, you just get a fast pass, you do that one, you could get every so many hours or whatever. But now if you want to get a fast pass for your average day, it's like $30 a person. I will say, like, you need to get it. You just need to get it. Like, if you're already going to spend that much to go to Disney, you know, for, family of four for that park for that day is extra $100, 120. But if you rope drop and then use your fast passes, you get three. And then as soon as you use your first one, you can get on your phone. Everything's done through a phone now, not tickets. You can get the next one, but I think we end up using like six on the fast pass. Of course, we rope drop it, so we got a couple there. So we we did pretty well.
Yeah, the
But if you
lines.
if you if you didn't have that fast pass, I do think it would be more of a challenge. I think you need to get it for that price. There's some things I don't think you get at Disney, and I could go on all day. There's some things I think are wasting money there, but I think that fast pass now that they charge for it, it's kind of good because now that they charge for it, not everybody gets it. And actually, a decent percentage don't get it. So for the people that get it, it kind of makes it nicer. I kind of hate it for the people that don't get it, but at the same time, everybody for theirself, I don't know.
So do you get that little weird feeling when you walk past everybody, or
No,
are you like ha
uh-uh.
ha ha
No,
ha
no,
ha?
no, I don't. Cause I've been that guy
No,
and I've
Anthony's
watched it.
walking
I
past
figured it
them
out last
laughing.
time. Yeah. So they've been charging for it like the last two or three times we went. And I think the first two times they charged for it, we didn't get it. And I remember just sitting there kind of analyzing it, like sitting in hour-long waits and doing the math. It's like, dude, $30 and I can beat through this line in 5 or 10 minutes. Why wouldn't I do that? Like, I think it's crazy not to do it. I will say the day we went to Magic Kingdom, the key to Disney, hands down, you got to rope drop it. That's getting there in the morning before it opens. You got to stay on property because if you stay on property, they let those people in an hour early, which you can. And what you do is you go to every park has like its main couple attractions and that have the longest lines, and you knock those out when you rope drop it. That's what you do early in the morning. But they got a lot of construction going on. They're building a Cars World, which they already have out in California. They're building that there, and they're actually building a Villains World at the Magic Kingdom, which I think that's cool because they've really never done nothing for the villains. So they're building a Villains World and a Car World at the Magic Kingdom.
So did you go to, what is it, Universal Studios?
Nope, we did last time. I've only been to Universal once. I'll tell you why I'm a fan of Disney. It's not Universal has really good rides. Some might even argue Universal rides are better. It's close. They both have really good rides. Like Disney's headline rides are legit. I mean, some of the rides they've spent like $1 billion, $500 million building. Now, some of their other ones are, maybe more kid friendly. But for me, it's the nostalgic of some of the rides, and it's to me what makes Disney special is the fit and finish of it. It's Universal don't have that same fit and finish. When you're inside Disney, you kind of feel like you're inside that world. I joke with my wife, I'll say, "You want me to go get a pizza off property?" Because you can go like 5, 10 miles down the road and actually get off the Disney property. But my wife, when she goes to Disney, she don't leave what they call the bubble. She says she don't want to leave the bubble. But I left the bubble a couple times to go off property, but it does feel world because you go into like the normal world versus that Disney world, and they call it leaving the bubble. But I left the bubble twice, and the rest of my family never left the bubble. So
So what was your favorite park? What's the best one out of the Disney parks? I always liked Universal when I
oh, it's
went.
good.
I do
The
think
rides are
Universal
good.
overall has better rides, but I like the Disney parks too. So
Yeah.
which did you like the
I will
best?
say this, that Disney, I felt like years ago, maybe Universal was kind of pretty good ways ahead of Disney at rides, but maybe Disney felt that, but they've really invested in some high dollar rides. They got one at Animal Kingdom called Flight of Passage. I think they built like a 500 million. Put this in perspective. When they brought Six Flags out of bankruptcy a few years back and got it back open, I think it was like $40 million for that one ride at Animal Kingdom. Flight of Passage is a simulator. Feels like you're flying. A $500 million for one ride that they built. So they've really built some great rides over the last 5 or 10 years, and they're building some more. But my favorite park's probably Magic Kingdom. If I was younger and if I was just going by rides, I might say Hollywood Studios. But I like the nostalgic kind of the OG feeling of Disney World, and I think it has a good mix of old and new. They're getting rid of a few of the older things, which they need to bring in some new stuff. So, and they've done a good job of that. But to me, it's the nostalgic, the fireworks show. They do a big thing where they light up the castle. It's just a big to do at the end of the night. And actually, my favorite time to be at the parks is nighttime right before they close. Right after the fireworks show, you got about an hour and a half where everybody is leaving or way up in front on Main Street. And me and Rex like to run around like back by the Jungle Cruise and stuff. And you can almost walk on the rides at that point. The weather's real cool. It's just kind of cool being there. And maybe there might only be just some small groups back there. That's the best time to be at the park is nighttime, I think.
It's a Small World. Did you ride it?
I did, and it's the most boring ride, but it's one of my favorite because
Yeah,
I like when that.
you talk about nostalgia. You have to ride
It
it. Of course,
is. I
boring
agree.
as
I
shit,
agree.
but you
That's
have to
that's
ride it.
my kids
What
make
about
fun of
the
it, but it's the nostalgic. It just is. I was worried about Splash Mountain. For those that don't know, they rebranded it and rethemed it because an old Disney movie called Song of the South, maybe there was it wasn't bad, and that's what everybody was upset about. But I will say this: they turned it into Tiana's Bayou, and essentially it's a world where you go in this mountain and you go around it, and there's characters, and then there's a couple drops inside of the mountain. You go down; it's like almost like Mile High's Falls inside, but then at the very end, you drop out of the very top of the mountain in a big splash. And but it's Tiana's Bayou, the Princess and the Frog, the Disney deal, I think it is. And they did a really good job of retheming it. And something else really cool I think they did is inside the ride they had about 4 or 5 different things that almost paid tribute to Splash Mountain because Splash Mountain and Space Mountain were probably Disney's two most favorite rides, and there was about 4 or 5 different things with inside the new theme ride that kind of paid tribute to Splash Mountain, which I thought was really cool. So, they didn't have to do that. They knew Splash Mountain was a lot of people's favorite, and to me, Disney does a really good job of kind of bringing that magic. I know it sounds corny, but just kind of bringing the magic, man. And if anybody hasn't been the last maybe 10 years, they've even took it to the next level because with technology being so good now, man, they can really bring things to life now.
So what about the presidential hall? Did you go in it?
Yeah, that's OG. I like all the OG stuff, man. I do.
I
That's over there.
I actually like that, man. That's a good little
It is. It's
historical
cool.
thing. I think it's pretty cool. I like
You,
that. It's a
you know,
little
they got
short
the
show.
so right across from there, they have the old steamboat right there, Tom Sawyer's Island. That's very OG. And they actually tore that down this last year, which was good. That was probably the most boring thing there. I liked it because it was OG, but that's where they're building the new Cars and Villains world over there. So that's going to be cool. It's about 2 or 3 years out, but they already have a Cars world out at Disneyland out in California, but they're actually going to build one there. For those that don't know, Disneyland out in California was the original OG. That's what Walt first built, but he couldn't expand very far. And he got a hold of some property in Central Florida where he could expand. And essentially, that's where Disney World is. Disney World's 2 or 3 times the size of Disneyland now. I think there's 7 Disney lands in the whole world, and there's only one Disney World. And that's kind of the main thing now, even though Disneyland in California is the OG.
All right. So while you were gone, or that
Yep.
weekend, I think as you were leaving you probably got there. You got there on Friday or Saturday. Final Four was Saturday and championship game Monday. I know we kind of already talked about it. You said you didn't watch
Charlie, you're
much.
cutting out.
Huh? Can you hear me? Can't hear me?
You're cutting out. I can
Huh?
hear you. Well, you're starting to come through now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you
I
hear
can see
me?
you, but it's like glitching real bad.
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah.
the sound's glitching or the video?
Let me try to turn one of my Wi-Fi off or one real quick. See if it's me real quick. I can just I'll go opposite of whatever I got it. Hold on. You
Can
there?
you hear me? Can you
Yeah, hold
hear
on. Let me
me?
try this. Hold on. I'm there. You there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep. I can hear you now. Yeah, I think you're
What
better.
what was
You want to
what
start
was
over that part?
glitching what was glitching, the video or the sound?
A little both. It was just like fuzzy, and I was kind of barely hearing you. I think it was a connection issue, man. Because now everything's good.
Because your video has been fuzzy the whole time, but once I go to like edit it, it doesn't look like that. But
Okay.
yours,
All right.
your video's been glitching the whole time, but your audio sounds fine.
Yep.
All right, so as you were in Florida, the
Yeah.
Final Four was being played on Saturday, and then the championship game on Monday. I know we kind of talked about this, and you said you didn't watch much or any of it. I'm not sure, but what did you think? I'm sure you went back and looked at what happened. What'd you think? It was well. I'll tell you this: you didn't miss much because both games on Saturday were kind of boring, and the championship game was a little bit better, but not much.
I was so I felt double. I could never be mad at Arizona this year. They won me so much money. Like not so much like I'm getting rich off of bet. Like every time I bet them, they won, dude. They were really good to me this year. They had a really good year. They got their ass kicked Saturday. I'm not saying Michigan wouldn't whoop their ass again if they played tomorrow. Maybe they would. But that's the one thing, and I've talked to you, I've said it on my TikTok post a lot, where I just don't like the NCAA tournament. I like it, but I don't like it because I think anybody can beat anybody on a given night. And Michigan might have tore them up again, but I have a hard time believing, and it might be the case, but I have a hard time believing that Michigan, if they are better than Arizona, was that much better than Arizona. I think both those teams were really good teams all year, and that's just how I seen it. So but they got their ass kicked. Michigan marched on. I didn't watch it, or maybe just some bits and parts of the championship. But once Michigan beat Arizona, I was happy that Michigan beat UConn. I didn't want UConn to win it, so that was a plus for me on that end.
Oh yeah, we definitely were not cheering for UConn in the championship. I'm glad Michigan got it done too. That's it still keeps UConn 2 away from us, so still a little bit of leeway there. Nobody wanted to see Dan Hurley get 3 out of the last 4. So
Mm-mm.
definitely glad that didn't happen. But I will say UConn, they did what UConn does. They would not go away in that game. Michigan controlled most of the game, but UConn kept hitting timely shots late in the game to make it a little interesting. So,
You know
but yeah,
that
Michigan looked good last weekend. And you're right. I mean, look, anything could have happened if Michigan and Arizona play best of 7. I think it's 4-3 either way. I'm not going to say Michigan would definitely win. I think Arizona's a lot better than what they showed in that game. But hey, it was one
what it
game, and
is. Yeah.
Michigan
Yeah.
played really good, and Arizona unfortunately played their worst game that they played all year, and it just came at the wrong time. But
Yeah.
yeah, just a uneventful Final Four, really was.
Yeah.
Just the best thing that happened was UConn lost, so they are
Uh-uh.
not undefeated in Final Fours anymore.
No, I agree with that. It was it was it was a decent tournament. I like the tournament. I don't want people to think that I don't like the tournament. I do like the tournament for the same reasons everybody else does, whether they realize it or not. It's exciting when it's one game and you go home. I'll never say that it's exciting or they should even change it because it's the best tournament in sports. And I'll say that until I'm blue in the face. I mean, what makes it the best tournament in sports, though, is that upset factor. But is that fair if we're really trying to determine the best team? No. But as a fan and the excitement of one game and you go home, it makes for some exciting basketball, exciting sports. So I don't want them to change it. I think it's the best tournament in sports, but it's hard for me to, I used to put everything in that tournament. That was whether I thought Kentucky had a good season or a bad season. And I kind of grew out of that. As I got older, I started to realize like, m- you know, it's more about the regular season. And I felt that way. I've slowly grown towards that. And I think now I'm kind of all in with it. Just give me a good basketball team. If we do good in March, I want to do good in March. There's no doubt. I want to win the tournament. But I'm not going to say that we didn't have a good year just because, we don't hang banners. I think when you get into that banner talk, I think it's, kind of outdated talk and you're living in the past. Just give me a good, fun team that's exciting and a good basketball team. How do you feel about the tournament? I mean, I know we've talked about it, but, maybe for those out there listening, how do you feel about it?
Well, I want to win titles.
Yeah, I get
And
it.
I think
Yeah.
everybody should want to win titles, but we've talked about it plenty of times that if you're trying to evaluate a team, if you're trying to evaluate a player or a coach, we can't evaluate them on a 5 or 6 or 3 game span in March. It has to be the whole body of work. So yeah, when I'm evaluating Mark Pope or this Kentucky team, it's more about, or any Kentucky team or any team, it's about the body of work, which
Yeah.
includes and is mainly the regular season. The regular season is this big and the tournament is this big, on your schedule. It's the body of work is mainly the regular season. So I agree when we're talking about uh evaluating players, coaches, teams. But yeah, I mean, I still want to win titles, no
I get
doubt.
that. And me too.
Like,
And I'm not saying that I
everything
don't,
doesn't
but
hang everything can't hang on that. And for the fans that do look at it like that, like it's just a total failure if you don't win it all. It's unrealistic. UCLA has 11 titles. How long have we been playing college basketball? 100 years?
right.
Over 100 years, and the most that a team has is 11 or 10 or whatever they got, 10 or 11.
And they won all theirs in a short period of time.
Yeah, and the next is Kentucky at 8. So 8 in 100 and something years, dude, it is not easy. So you can't
No.
win it every year. You can't even really. It's not even every other year, every third or every fifth. It's like on average 10 years, every 10, 15 years. I mean, it's
For the
not
best of programs. For the best of
for
programs.
the best of the best.
I'll say this. It's when you're talking about like it's the best tournament in sports. So and somebody say, well, you're saying that, but you're saying this. What makes it the best tournament is it's not fair. It's not fair that you can have this great season and when you lose, you have one bad night and you go home. That's not fair, but that's also what makes it great because it makes it, almost like you fight to the death. There's no tomorrow, and that makes for exciting sports. I know you talked about reseeding it. Once you get to a certain point, I don't mind it. I even made a suggestion. I know they're not going to do it. I really don't even want them to do it, but I think it would show more who the better team was. Maybe when after the Sweet 16 and going forward, do it a double elimination. I think that would add a couple more weeks, but it wouldn't be too bad. Um, up until the Sweet 16 single, after that double, best of 3 series at that point. I know you had said something about reseeding the teams once they get to the Final Four. I
Yeah,
don't
and
hate I
it's
don't
not
hate
that
it. I understand why they don't, but I don't hate it.
yeah, it's not that I really want that to happen because I don't want this tournament to change at all.
Yeah. I
But if
agree.
we're talking about being fair, or not even so much being fair, but just maybe trying to get it right, and maybe that's not the right phrase either, but the 2 out of 3, the reseeding, there's other leagues do it. Baseball, college baseball, if you look at theirs, they do a double elimination for the first weekend, and the next weekend is a single elimination. Then the the next weekend is back to a double elimination, and then it's back. They alternate every round, which is crazy. But if you really look at the structure, it's kind of cool. So I don't want to change anything about it because it is very unique and nobody else does it. So keep it how it is. But yeah, I mean, there's thoughts of, if you want your teams to win a title every 5 years instead of every 15, that's what you need. You need something like that if you're one of the top teams. 2 out of 3, maybe you can get it done a little bit more often. If it was 2 out of 3, I'd argue that Cal at Kentucky, just alone at Kentucky, would have 4 titles at least, and maybe more.
Yeah, it's I'll say this is that it's when we're talking about the NCAA tournament. Of course, we don't want nothing changed. And you talk about fair. It would be more fair, but it not being fair is essentially what makes it fun. I seen it during the tournament. I forget who was airing it, whether it was TBS or whoever, but I paid attention because we had talked about it and we discussed it. And I felt like they were really reaching, trying to create Cinderella. Like, there was a few teams that were lower seeds, the Iowas, a couple more. But to me, I don't look at them as Cinderellas because they're a bigger program. But I felt the TV broadcast reaching for Cinderellas, and I know why, because that makes for higher ratings. People want to see the upsets. They want to see the little guy win. And, you just don't see it as much no more. But I definitely, as a fan, was paying attention to it. And I definitely thought that those big TV networks were kind of reaching for that, trying to make something there that really I didn't think was there. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot.
So now the big talk is obviously the transfer portal. And, it opened, I think, last Tuesday or Wednesday when me and Josh were recording. I think it was that day. I think it was Tuesday. So it's been a week. And I believe there's about a week left. I think it was 15 days total. So I think we're sitting about 7 or 8. We're about halfway through. And, I'll tell you, from a Kentucky fan standpoint, I don't know how, if it's like this in other fan bases, but it's a madhouse. It's an
Oh, it is.
absolute madhouse.
A lot of
And
pressure.
I used to pay attention to high school recruiting, the top high school guys back in the day.
Loved
Uh,
it. Loved it. That's what
and
got
I've
me
said
started doing this stuff.
that once Cal came in, those first handful of years, I stayed up with it. But then once I figured out that Cal was just gonna just trust him and I kind of stopped doing that. This transfer portal thing, I feel like, is so much more crazy. There was reported 1,500 to 2,000 kids. Josh said, I don't know if you listened to the episode last week, but Josh said that it was something like 47% or close to 50% of the kids that were eligible for the portal were in the portal. It's crazy. And then when you're online, everybody wants to be a reporter now. Everybody and their brother is posting this insider information. Like every TikToker, every YouTuber, they all have inside information. They're all trying to tell us who's going where and who's being recruited, who's got Zoom meetings coming up, who's got who's coming on campus. It's a madhouse, Anthony, is it not?
It is.
I've
So,
never seen nothing. Last year we dealt with this same thing. Like I'm just saying the transfer portal. It was the same. It was not like, this is a madhouse from a Kentucky standpoint. It's unbelievable. And there's a whole nother side of it to where Kentucky fans are at each other. Kentucky fan, that's a whole nother argument. But the transfer portal in itself is can you keep up with it, Anthony? Because I cannot.
I don't even try. So my son, he's that age, 13 years old, where he's really kind of he loved sports before and he read about it and watched it, but he's really got into it over the last year and a half, maybe 2. I don't know. But he's always trying to give me these little updates because he knows we do this and some of the stuff, he's on it pretty quick and it's and he'll tell me and sometimes and this ain't right that I do this, But sometimes I'm just kind of disinterested and I'll say, Rex, man, just wait. Whatever happens, happens. Like, because I kind of grew up, this was my thing when I was younger. I followed recruiting. I lived in that world. And then it became where it wasn't nothing about recruiting. It was, just wait and see because people committed and decommitted. It became that. And now it's became this. And at the end of the day, it's like the thing I learned is don't stress yourself out about it. The coach is going to get who he's going to get. And I've made the argument sometimes your fans can be your worst enemy just with the negative mojo and just the stuff that's out there. But then I caught myself and said, no, I need to make sure that, I pay attention to my son when he says that because that was the stuff that, why I fell in love with following UK was that stuff. So I got to remember this is all new to him, or maybe a friend of mine that ain't never went through this. Maybe this is the first time they're into it and it's new to them. So it's easy for me to kind of be like, sing song and dance because I've done that. And that's kind of how I feel. But I need to remember this ain't everybody's sing song and dance. For some people, if they're just following it, maybe they're just getting involved with the internet, as far as following the team and really, really reading about it with the new social media outlets for them, this is all new. So I need to make sure that, as a good friend and just a good dad with my son, that I make sure that I appreciate and kind of listen to them because that's the world that I used to live and used to live on the edge now. Now I just don't so much live on the edge with it. And I know we've talked about that.
Yeah, I can't keep up with it. I've tried. I've looked into some of it because we're about a weekend. We're about halfway through now, so I'm getting a little. I'm digging a little bit into it, but I've really been turned off with it, and I'm actually glad that I have not stressed myself out because everybody else is so stressed out, and I really have not been. Now, I will admit, as a Kentucky fan, I've been the last couple days with some of the talk that's going on. And we lost out on the BYU kid Rob Wright today. Little bit of worries. I mean, but I, I still cannot. I know some of these guys that are in the transfer portal, and I got an eye on a few of them that I think that I would like. But I don't know who Mark Pope's looking at. I have no clue who he's talking to or targeting. I have my own opinions, but I don't know what our staff is looking for. So for me to stress myself out with it, I can't do it. Now I do have my worries when it comes to Kentucky, but the transfer portal is just nuts. Now, as I will say, Louisville got them a couple good ones, Anthony.
Yeah, they
Now, I
did.
say a couple good ones. We don't ever know how these guys are going to turn out. We saw that last year at Kentucky, and there's been scenarios all around the country where some guys will work out, some guys won't. But I will say Louisville got the number one or number two, where depending
Not,
on where you're looking.
yeah.
The what's his name? Badunga,
Yeah.
the
I don't
big guy.
like him no more.
Yeah, me neither. And then they got the point guard from Oregon, both on the same day. I don't know if that was like a little package deal that they had going on, but that
Thoroughbred Lounge. Thoroughbred Lounge. Just
that
2 words.
that
Thoroughbred Lounge, and they actually took them there. They got them on a good day. They brought some, like, workers that weren't even workers there to get them, but
they
they're
can't use Minardi
back
Hall
at their old
anymore.
tricks.
Yeah, they
Back at their
can't
old
use
tricks.
Minardi Hall anymore. They got to go to Thoroughbred now. They got to try to
Yeah.
hide
They're
Thoroughbred.
up to something. They're up to something, so
When Louisville, when Vince and the recruiters from Louisville walk in, Thoroughbred, they turn the cameras off.
yeah.
But yeah, Louisville, they got a couple. We'll see how it works out. But I did hear for all you Louisville fans that have been uh, dogging Kentucky about the 22 million. There's a little word on the street right now that possibility that Louisville might have that highest payroll number next year. I don't know if it's going to be 22 million or what the number is, but there's word on the street early that Louisville might have top that top number next year. So be
I think
careful.
I actually think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing when you got the top number because that means you got money. I mean, I hated it because I felt like they were funding basketball so much more than football. But the argument I always made to people was, yeah, it's not the argument ain't looking so great right now, but I still stand by it, even if it ain't this year. Yeah, it sucks, but in sports, big bank has a funny way of fixing problems, and NFL, you got a salary cap, but in college sports, you don't have a salary cap right now. And whether it's Pope at Kentucky or the next guy, if he gets fired, eventually, when you are spending a lot of money, you're going to get it right sooner than later. So that's it's a good problem to have when you have the most money. I just hated it for us because it came on the backs of football. But looks like we're giving football some money. Maybe basketball don't get so much this year, so we'll see.
So some notable ones just before we move on. The Santos Cyril kid, the big center that played for Georgia. Kentucky recruited him a couple years ago, and I really wanted that kid. He actually transferred to Miami, and so did a Caden Lewis, who was also being recruited by I think Pope last year. He transferred from Villanova, to Miami. Miami got a Caden Lewis and Santos Cyril. I don't know what they're doing down there in Miami and how much they're paying, but they got two good ones too.
Same thing in football. I think the cartels are getting involved down there, and
I agree.
Miami is a sleeping giant in the
I agree.
NIL world, son. It's
They're
bringing the
dishing out cash.
how
They're
they making
just
their money. How does Miami make their money down there, man? Come on,
you just said it. You just
yeah,
said it.
yeah, come on.
The kid from Virginia Tech that Josh actually mentioned early in the season, he ended up in the transfer portal. He went to North Carolina.
Lowe ended up at Georgetown. We talked about that earlier.
Lowe went to
Diabate's
Georgia.
just found a place, and Jelly from Kentucky, he went to Ohio State.
I think that's a good spot for Yelovich, Ohio State, and yeah, the Virginia Tech kid to North Carolina. Yeah, it is what it is. But the guy that I have not dug into this, but I will say there was one guy that I saw early that entered the portal that stuck out to me. And that was the Juke Harris kid from Wake Forest. I remember him play a couple times this year. I guess it was probably against Duke. The kid is really good and he's still available. He's a 6'7" swing guy. That's the one I want. There's not a bunch of them that I'm on, but that guy's still available. I would love to see Kentucky go after him. Kentucky is also going after the Donnie Freeman kid from Syracuse. He's actually ranked 15th in the portal. That would be a good pickup. But we lost out on the BYU kid, Rob Wright, the point guard. Last couple of days, they were pretty much saying we were the favorites for him. He came on a visit, I think on Monday with Stokes, not with Stokes, same day as Stokes. And apparently, I don't know if it didn't go right or how it went, but he went back to BYU today. So that was a little bit where a little bit of my worry came in because all the talk was like that kid was all but signed. And, it makes me worry. We'll talk more about the Pope and the Kentucky transfer issues that we got in the second half, but those are a couple that stuck out to me. Go get Juke Harris. You got anybody eyed up? There's a couple St.
No,
Mary's guys in there, Anthony.
yeah, I
That
seen them.
one,
Listen,
is right fourth. That
they
Allen Graves kid.
they need to they need to put a limit. Look, I know the NIL is not in. I get that, and whatever, but they need to what they can do is put some limits on the transfer portal, and or number of times you can transfer. They got to do something with it, man. I really don't think this is sustainable. I just don't. I know like people say it is, it isn't. I just don't think it's sustainable. I do think it's eventually going to run fans off. I think it is at times, and I just think long term it's sustainable for right now. But I think slowly this is going to wear on people. I really do.
All right. Well, that's about all I got on the transfer portal,
That's
Anthony.
it.
Like I said, I don't have much more. Everybody is tied up into the transfer portal, and it is
Everybody,
nuts.
there's no loyalty no more, and yeah, I think Cal said this, but I agree with him. How do you freaking graduate college when you went to 4 different colleges? Like all the troubles of getting your classes to transfer over to this degree or that degree. I mean, are we still calling it college basketball at this point? I mean, that's I don't
I
know.
think a good percentage of them aren't even worried about that degree until maybe after their basketball career's over. Then
And
they
I
might.
understand that. I've actually been a big proponent for that. I get it. A lot of money involved. I've said that from day one. But at the same time, I'll say this, and I ain't gonna get deep into it. Let the best players walk. Let them have their own league. Like, the reason we're fans of Kentucky or Louisville or UCLA is because of the tradition involved. You don't gotta have like the best players. Let the best players go make their semi-pro league. But let's try to get college sports back to what it is, and that's where it's tied to the university. It's the student athlete. I do believe in that. I get it that that's not what it is right now, and it's probably not going to change back. But let the best players have their own league, and I think fans, they don't care who it is as long as it's competitive. It's let the best high school players go play in a semi-pro league. I will say this, I bet you there ain't as much money there because the money's there because of the popularity of college sports. And that's where I think that college athletics has more leverage than people think because the money's there because of us fans. Us fans essentially are paying for these players through supporting our university, which then they make the money and then they push it to the players. If they just went out and got a semi-pro league, that money wouldn't be there. The money's coming from us fans. So I like to think we have more leverage in what we think.
All right, there was also some golf news this past weekend, or really in the last week and a half. I don't think me and Josh touched on it, but it was Masters week, which is always fun for golf fans. I'm not even a huge golf fan, but I do try to watch some of the majors, and I always watch a little bit on Sunday of the Masters. Rory gets it done back to back. Blitz the Bookie has been going for 2 Masters, and Rory has won both of them. I think
Yes.
we must be his good luck charm. He's the only, or no, one of I think 3 or 4. I think it's like him, Tiger, Jack Nicklaus, and maybe like Nick Faldo or something. I want to say it was Nick Faldo that have won back to back. So uh, big win for Rory. Rory's got it going on, dude.
He does. He does.
I know you did. If you didn't watch the Final Four, I know you didn't watch that.
I watched the end of the Masters, but I was
Did
hoping to
you?
see Happy Gilmore, but he wasn't nowhere to be found. I'm a happy guy, so he does it for grandma. But
Well,
no,
I was just waiting for Tiger Woods to like drive his. I know you've probably seen the. Have you
yeah.
seen the videos going around?
Dude, the video is like he just tries to play it off. This is what I ask you. So you see, he tried to play it off and get out of it there. Just try to play it cool,
Oh, he
even though it
said he
was.
was calling the president, son. He said he was on
Yeah.
the phone with Donald.
How
He
many
thought he was
times?
going to get out of it. He's like, hold up, I'm talking to the president. Like, get out of here, bro.
How many times has he got out of that though? Because some people let him go. I probably let it go. Give me 100,000, Dodger. I'll let you go. How many times has he got out of that? That's what's
Well, I mean,
scary.
this is like the 3rd time he's rolled his truck over, I think,
I
in the
know,
last
but that's how many
10
times he's
years.
been caught. How many times was he able to make? I'm sure he offered that guy a bribe or something. I mean, I say that they say you don't even pay his hookers. So this is what I don't understand about the guy. He's worth 1.5. We looked it up. $1.5 billion. Billion is a big word. Why are you out here rolling vehicles? People joking on the internet saying he has a pocket full of oxycontins. Him and
Yeah, I
his
think he did. I think he
eh,
had some pills on him.
um, dude,
He's getting
like,
high as hell, son.
golly, Tiger gets blasted. And then when all that went on before, I heard that like one of the reasons, you know, he don't like paying his hookers. He stands them up for their money and shit. You're worth $1.5 billion, dude. 10% a year alone, that's $150 million. Like, what's up, dude? You got issues. You got issues.
I just got issues. What a just fall from
The
fall from
president.
grace. I mean, good. Yeah,
He ain't
call
gonna
it.
fall. Hey, he will not fall. I'm telling you, he is Teflon, dude. Just like
Well,
the
I'm
Clintons,
saying that
he's
golf
Teflon.
has been they from what I've been reading and hearing. I mean, the PGA has really been like getting a lot of uh like information, like really having Tiger help them with like advancing into the future. I don't know exactly what all that entails, but he's still got a lot going on with, and he had that TV thing going on where I don't know if you've seen it. They got like it's like an indoor golf
I've seen
league,
it. I've seen it. Yeah,
and he's like the main guy on that. But you're
he's
right,
all
Tiger
right.
will be all
I
right.
don't care.
Time will pass, and Tiger will be right back. He was supposed to be the leader of the Ryder Cup team here coming up later this year.
Still
So
is. Still is.
we'll see if he is. I don't know if
I,
he is or not.
I'm telling you, dude, fans, I've learned this doing this podcast, and even before that, fans they what they do what they want to do. Like it's whatever the mob decides to do, the mob overcomes everything. And they love Tiger. There's other individuals in this world that people have just loved, and they'll turn the blind eye to what they do. And then there's other people that they won't turn a blind eye to nothing. And you hate that for that person. You hate the being a hypocrite, whether it's sports or entertainment or whatever it is. But some people are just untouchable in this world.
I was waiting for him to fly over the bunker in the. Have you seen the videos going
Of,
around,
of
dude?
Tiger,
There's a really, really good AI video, dude. Really good AI. Maybe one of the better AI videos I've seen in a while. And it's Rory accepting the green jacket, and it looks real as shit. And next thing you know, Tiger comes flying over the bunker in his SUV, flips over on the green. And I've seen other videos like that, but on this one, he gets out. Tiger jumps out of the SUV, and when it's upside down, he jumps out. He runs over to Rory with a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he like puts his arm around Rory, and he's like, Rory deserves this win or something. And then he goes, but his wife wouldn't let me fuck or something like that, dude. And he's got this bottle of whiskey, and he's spilling it all over himself, and he takes a big chug. Dude, you've got to see it. It is one of the best AI videos I've seen in a while. Fucking hilarious.
reminds
If
me
y'all
of
have not
Happy
seen
Gilmore.
that, if y'all have not seen that, please go find that video. It is so funny, dude. Oh my God.
Charlie, it reminds me of that Happy Gilmore when Shooter hired
Yeah.
that guy to take Happy out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so no, it's listen, Tiger's got some problems. He needs to get them worked on. I do know him and Rory are good friends, if I'm not mistaken. So they've always kind of been close friends. Look, I'm not a big golf guy, but I'm smart enough to listen to smart people that are. And everybody talks about when Tiger was at his best, nobody was even close. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I respect
You
people's
didn't even
opinion.
watch Tiger back in the day?
Dude, I'm not a golf guy. I'm not a golf guy. I don't
Not
watch
either.
golf. I don't
But
watch a lot of baseball.
you didn't watch Tiger when he
I
was
mean,
like when he was just
I would
doing it?
I wouldn't watch the whole like event.
No, hell no. I've never watched a whole damn golf tournament in my life.
I watched
But
like the championship final few. I will say this: one of the coolest things I've seen. I love a good comeback story. A few years ago, Tiger had been out for a while, and he made that comeback. What was that? Was that the Masters or the U.S. Open?
yeah,
Well,
but that's been a
I don't
while.
know,
It's been a while.
but
It's
dude,
been a while, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I
It was the
remember everybody
Masters.
starting to talk about it on that Sunday, and I felt like more and more people start watching it as the day went on. And I remember hearing about it, and I just stopped in Hooters. I wasn't even close to home. I didn't have, cable on my phone yet, and I stopped in Hooters to watch, and a lot of people just stopped to watch it. So that was a cool comeback, and he was able to finish it off. So he got him one last major. I forget which major that was, but I know it was a major.
It was the Masters, I believe, and I
Yeah.
think everybody kinda thought Tiger was coming back after that. That was after the long hiatus and getting the whole Thanksgiving weekend deal there with the wife and wrecking the car the first time, and then he had back surgeries, and then he wrecked the car again, and, yeah, I think people thought that was the comeback of Tiger, and he won that one, but he could never get it right. But
You,
man, I'll never forget the golden days of Tiger, dude, because I was not a golf fan by any means. I never even played around in golf until I was like 30.
right.
Uh, but man, I would definitely turn on Tiger in the late 90s, early 2000s. when he was on Sunday about to win a tournament, because that was some of it was must see TV, dude, for real. I mean, golf is not very exciting, but I'll tell you, when Tiger was doing his thing, dude, it was must see TV. He did some crazy shit. So
Yeah. You know, I tell you, our buddy Barry showed me, he's a car guy, and he showed me he was showing me pictures of like top 10 most expensive wrecks of all times. And you got these Ferraris and Porsches, like these like very limited cars. All this one's worth $1.5 million, totaled out. And then at number one, it was like Tiger Woods, like so many 100 million. Cause when he had that first wreck, his wife, Lefty, you know, she wasn't dealing with that shit, dude. I think wasn't she a Kennedy or something? She wasn't
I
dealing with
don't
that
know.
shit. Like, like Kobe's wife took him back. She didn't take Tiger back, babe. Like
No,
there wasn't no prenup, I could tell you that. But hey,
took a lot, boy.
on a quick note, I read something really cool, not to change the subject, but it's not sports. But if anybody's ever heard of the Vanderbilt family, it's the Bitmore estate, they're family owned. Their like great 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 grandfather, the original, Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt, was one of the richest guys in the world way back in the early years of America's industrialization. He was a railroad guy, and he built a fortune that they said like today compared to like Elon Musk or Tesla's, he would have been worth 5 times if you counted inflation, because back then you could monopolize, make all the money in the world. And he set it up to like where like every generation would have so much. Or no, that was the other guy. But his son actually got the money and actually doubled it. So he did good with the family fortune. Well, the grandsons and the great grandsons and the great great grandsons, they actually went through the largest fortune ever. And I mean, it was just lavish lifestyle. And one of them built the Bitmore Estate, the largest home in America in the North Carolina mountains. But anyhow, they went through the family fortune and they actually had a family reunion. Nobody was a millionaire, and all the Rockefellers and all of them still got money. They literally pissed through a fortune people thought you couldn't piss through. But I found out, you know who Anderson Cooper is, the reporter.
Yep.
Uh, He's a Vanderbilt. He's a Vanderbilt, and he actually changed his last name because he didn't want the Vanderbilt last name. But he's actually a Vanderbilt, and he just never wanted to use the famous last name. And he's actually one of the few Vanderbilts that was able actually to build his own fortune and do good for himself. So I didn't know if anybody knew that. Anderson Cooper is a Vanderbilt, if you're interested in history. A lot of people might have known that. I didn't.
History with Anthony.
That's right. He also donated everybody knows Vanderbilt University. So he donated all that money for that school when he did his deal.
All right, NBA and NHL regular seasons wrapping up. I think like yesterday, both of them, I believe, or maybe NBA was yesterday, NHL today. But they're wrapping up. Playoffs are starting. Anthony, do you care?
Nope. Get rid of the gather step. I don't, get rid of the 8-step move in the NBA. It's hard for me to watch when I watch replays and people are counting the steps and they get up to like 8 or 9 and there ain't no travel call. Have you seen those
Anthony.
videos?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
And it's bad enough that they let him do it, but I, as a basketball player, I wonder how they do that, and because it doesn't feel natural. Yeah, I guess they got
it's hard to do, dude.
It's not natural. If I try to take 2 steps and accidentally take the third, I'm probably going to just pull up and not even shoot because it's an awkward feeling. You're right. They practice the shit. So
No, they do.
Anthony, watch hockey. Fuck the NBA playoffs.
I've watched a little
Watch
hockey.
the hockey playoffs, dude.
I wish it was more popular because I think I'd watch it even more. I could easily like hockey. I could tell you this, but of course, you know this. But for anybody that don't know, Kentucky Derby's coming up. Watch horse racing. It's an awesome sport to get involved in. You don't got to bet it a lot. If you really learn the players in the game, watch it. Charlie, I'm going to take your advice and start watching hockey. So we're giving some people some great sports to watch, maybe that aren't so popular.
In the playoffs, I promise you, if you pick a team and you just say, I'm going to just cheer for I'm going to have to pick one too, Anthony, in the playoffs, because the Capitals got eliminated the other day on the last day of the regular season. They're out. Ovechkin might have played his last game. I hope not, but we might have seen the last of OV. So I'm going to have to pick me a team to cheer for in the playoffs. So I'll be looking maybe by next week. The playoffs will probably already be started by next week. But by next week, hopefully we'll have Josh back. We're all going to pick a hockey team. We'll all pick a different one, too.
I want the
We'll
octopus team.
the
I want the octopus. All right, whoever Wayne Gretzky plays for.
We'll all pick one and we'll keep up. I'm telling you, dude, there's nothing better than playoff hockey. And it's not popular around here, but when you turn that TV on, Anthony, in the playoffs and you turn that sound up, it's popular there. I'll tell you that, because those places are rocking.
I could easily see that sport like blowing up. I guess it don't, because not many people have access to ice.
I
But
think
dude,
that's
it's
it.
a fun sport to watch. I agree with you. I don't watch it hardly, but when I do, I'm drawn into it every time.
So yeah, the NBA, I don't even know who's in it. I mean, I know some of the top teams. We kind of
OKC, Nuggets,
the
Boston's
West
good in
against
the East.
the West against Boston. Now, I mean, you could make an argument for maybe the Pistons. I think are decent this year and got some
Cleveland.
young talent, and Cleveland and then the Knicks maybe. But the West is loaded. We've got some play-in games. I'm not sure the format, but I think it's a one game. There's two games tonight. One's going on right now, Orlando and Philly. I believe that is a one game play-in, and then Golden State tonight against the Clippers, the old men. I think the Clippers got some old men too. That's the old man game right there tonight, 10 o'clock. So some play-in games. Do you care about the NBA playoffs? I don't.
I'll watch it a little bit, maybe when it gets more closer to the end. Let's pick a long shot. I mean, it'd be easy to go chalky. Let's pick a long shot. I don't watch a lot, but I know they've been injured, or they might even be challenging for one of the better teams in the NBA. But I know they had some serious injuries this year, but they are deep. My long shot I'm going to go with is Houston. Houston. I know I looked; they were 60-1 to win it. I actually made a small wager on them, something to root for. Houston. They've had some major injuries this year, but they are a deep team. So I'm gonna go Houston as my Anthony Roberts Blitz the Bookie long shot.
Well, I mean, who's the favorites? It's got to be OKC.
Yep.
OKC and who? Denver.
Yep. OKC, Denver, and Boston. It's OKC's the heavy favorite, I think.
I mean, San
not too heavy,
Antonio's
but
got to be somewhere up there. I'm looking at their record. They're 62-20, dude. They have made a huge jump with Wemby.
they are.
They're
Let me look it up real
62-20.
quick. I can look it up real quick as you're talking there. I looked at
Yeah,
it the other day.
I'll be cheering for San Antonio. I don't know if they're exactly a long shot, because I would have to guess they're in the top 4 or 5 picks.
I hate San Antonio.
What
Always hate 'em.
just that or see, I never disliked him, because I liked Tim Duncan. Man, you didn't like those Tim Duncan, Ginobili, and Tony Parker teams?
That's why we're dealing with the gather step and the Euro step, because all the European leagues start using it, and so US got beat in international play.
Euro step's not a travel.
Yeah, but that's when all those different moves started, though, because we were going to play international basketball and getting beat because they had their rules.
But they weren't They weren't taking 3 steps over there, Anthony. That was
No,
started.
but that's where the gather step kind of all that kind of grew from that. The whole world where you can do all these steps, and it's
I'll be cheering for San Antonio, and in the East, I'm gonna take a shot with the Knicks. Yeah, I know
here's
that,
the odds.
but I'm gonna take a shot with the Knicks.
OKC is pretty much even money. San Antonio's 5-1, Boston's 5.5 to 1, the Nuggets are 11 to 1, Cleveland's 11 to 1. So them four are really separated. Then you got Detroit at 18 to 1, the Knicks at 22, and the Rockets at 60. So looks like you got a clear favorite in OKC. You got the second group of 2 5-1s in Boston and San Antonio. And then you got the next group, who I think probably stops the legitimate who can win it, and that's Denver and Cleveland. I'm going to take me a long shot outside of them 5, I'll call it, and I'm going to go with Houston. I would even say if you pick Cleveland, I'll give that as a long shot. I'll give that as a long shot.
I was gonna say, I think it stops at Denver. I
Okay,
think everybody behind Denver is a long shot to me. Odds
Yeah.
or not, just in the way I think Boston's the only team that can win it out of the East. I don't see the other teams doing it. I think the Pistons are a little. What'd you say the Pistons is?
18-1.
Yeah, I think they're a little too young, maybe a year or two away. But and I just think the West is so much stronger with OKC, Denver. Now you got San Antonio playing like they are. The West is I think the champion's coming out of the West. I'm gonna be cheering for the new guy, man. I'm gonna be cheering for Wemby and the young Spurs. Even though if it's not, I don't mind any of these teams. I mean, OKC's got Shea, and I Denver's got Jamal Murray and Jokic. I like them guys, so I wouldn't mind any of them, and I wouldn't mind your pick either. Little Reed Shepherd action. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I'm more invested
it'll
into
be
the
fun.
playoffs.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick before we get out of here, Anthony, this is going to be a little bit of a condensed episode. We are recording late on a Wednesday, actually. Just schedules didn't let us get it done until today, so probably going to cut it a little bit short this week. But I do want to touch real quick. We're not going to get into it, but NFL draft is, I believe, next Thursday, right, Anthony? Am I right about that?
I know it's coming up.
I think
it's coming up.
I think it's a week from tomorrow. So our episode next week will be pretty heavy NFL. I'm not going to say the full episode, but we'll be talking a lot of NFL draft and getting back into the swing of football a little bit, at least for a week. We got 1 week to talk about it, and then we're
Spring
into
game. Spring games are coming up for people. The big news in the NFL draft before we get to it is the Mendoza looks to be the number 1 pick to the Raiders, and he will not be attending the NFL draft. He said it was more better of a situation for his family to be at home. I'm sure with his mom and her health is what it is. The NFL begged him to essentially be there, and he says, I appreciate the offer, but I'm doing what I think's best for my family, essentially, is what he said. So I respect that. I'm not a big Mendoza guy, but I definitely get his mom has, issues and stuff. I'm surprised that the NFL didn't offer him an incentive just to be there. It's kind of a big deal for the number 1 pick to be there. It might have been a business savvy way of picking him up an extra $500,000 or $1 million, but he didn't take it. It looks like, not unless he works something out between now and next week.
They probably did offer that.
Yeah, I bet you they did. I bet you the NFL's kind of PO'd about it, but whatever. I get it though. I respect it. That's a big deal for him and his family, and if that works better for him and his mom, then I respect it.
I didn't know his mom had issues. I just heard that he wasn't.
She had
weird.
I think she has some some pretty major kind of issues. Some I don't even know what you call them, but is it Tourette's? I don't know. I might be making it up. So I think that's kind of what it is. Also, I do know that it's a
Don't
big
have plenty of cameras.
outside.
Don't have plenty of cameras at that man's house. I can promise you that.
It might not let him in the house, dude. Mendoza's different.
They'll be there. I can promise you that.
He'll have to put on those fake tears. Some of those fake tears, yes.
And
I'm going to tell you, man, I'm really excited about the NFL draft, and I can't wait to get to Oakland, man. And dude, they're going to beat the shit out of him in Oakland, dude.
that was actually pretty good.
That is the one organization Fernando Mendoza cannot go to, and that's where he's going to.
They now have, and you've seen they signed Kirk Cousins.
Okay. Yeah.
They signed Kirk Cousins to another like $100 million contract, which they said the first year's the first year is the only one guaranteed, but it's like 20 million. And the overall contract is like 100 million for like 5 years for Kirk Cousins. Me and Josh talked. He has robbed the NFL. I'm not saying he's a bust and he hasn't produced because he's been pretty good at certain times. But if you look at the money that man's made, he's up there on the list of taking the most money from the NFL for the production, besides just being a complete bust, because he's not a bust. He's been a good player, but man, he's made a shit ton of money. And now the Raiders have the dorkiest quarterback room in the history of the NFL. And I told Barry that. Barry's a Raiders fan. I told him, I said, dude, your quarterback room is the dorkiest room I've ever seen. He said, well, it evens out because the rest of our roster is doing cocaine and fucking strippers. I said, "You're probably right." He said, "We need
Oh,
them 2
shit.
guys to even it out."
It did. On a quick note, we opened up with Disney and talking about my trip. There's people that are just Disney people, and you'll know 'em when you talk to them because they know a lot about Disney, and it's just like its own little culture. I seen it the other day. Kirk Cousins is a Disney guy. He grew up going to Disney. Yeah, I know he is. He owns property down there. Like he's a Disney
Mendoza
guy.
probably is too.
Yeah,
He's probably still got his damn Mickey Mouse ears that he puts
yeah.
on every
Mendoza's something else,
afternoon.
dude. I can't get that. I'm really excited, man, and like, dude, that no way can be real. I heard somebody say there might be a little something going on there, like some autism or something. If that's the case, I'll cut him all the breaks in the world and I apologize. But if not, they're just like, what are you doing, you fake $2 bill? Like, it's to me, he seems so fake sometimes, dude. God, he seems fake. If somebody cannot listen to him and say that's not fake, now, if there's something the matter with him, I apologize. And then that's just is what it is. But if not, dude,
Where'd he
he's
come
fake.
from?
They've caught him fake crying. I mean, man, I'm so excited. I mean, come on, dude.
Where'd
Like,
he
you
come
think
from?
that's going to lead a locker room?
California?
What's that?
UCLA? Where'd he play for? UCLA or Cal? Where was it?
Cal. But he grew
So
up in
we need
Miami.
we need to go look though at maybe like a post game interview or something from Cal, or maybe a high school post game interview, and see if that's how he's always been. I feel like people would have called him out if he just started doing that. I don't know. I don't know what he sounded like at Cal. I don't know if that's the true him, but I can see how people like you or whoever can assume that maybe that is fake, because it kind of seems like
Dude, that's what I get.
it's over
Like,
the top.
I'm not crazy about him as a player because I always felt like he just did certain things. Like he didn't even like he would not go outside the box, none. I feel like he didn't handle pressure. He'd just take off and run, which it worked for him. But NFL's hard. It's really hard to be a good quarterback in the NFL, which that's for next week. But what I'm talking about here is just his dude. It seems so fake to me. And there's people like my father-in-law, they're church people. I respect that. And I'm a church guy too, but they love him and they swear by him. And it's like, does that not seem fake to you? Like, does that not have fake written all over it? But I did talk to a lady, she was a teacher, and she said maybe he's on that what they call on the chart on the spectrum or whatever. So if that's the case, then maybe it makes sense. I don't know how that kind of transpires there. I don't know what that looks like, but if not, dude, that's fake as shit. You're the one that showed me they caught him fake crying. I mean, but nobody calls him out on it because he's the good boy, Mendoza, dude. Come on, get out of here with that shit, dude. I made a video about between him and Tebow and who I would follow as a leader. He is not going to win over an NFL locker room like that. He was in a special locker room in Indiana, and those people they drank the Kool-Aid up there. Not every locker room is going to be like that. That's just the way I
The
look at it.
Raiders locker room definitely ain't going to be like that. I can
Uh,
promise you that.
no, for sure.
Unless he wins a lot of games early, they ain't dealing with that shit, dude.
That's the only reason
They
they
do
dealt
not
with it
want
at
to hear that.
Indiana. Yeah, yeah.
They don't. Those guys, you can't come in there sunshine pumping unless you're special, and he hasn't proved that yet. So,
And he was the perfect
yeah.
guy. He was the perfect guy. It's one of my arguments why I don't think that Signetti, he's a great coach, but I don't think he can do it again. 'Cause he was the perfect guy for Signetti. He just was. He was like that was his twin of a person, like, of somebody that he would create. You're not getting a guy like that out of college. You're not getting the portal players like he brought from JMU. I don't think. Now, if he does it, I've said it many times before, let's let Signetti run for president because if he can influence people like that, he needs to be doing more than coaching football.
It'll be an interesting dynamic to watch Mendoza play for the Raiders. I will be watching that one. So yeah, we'll talk more NFL next week, guys, for sure. We've been, we've had fun with March and March Madness and the tournament, but I'm getting the football itch, and we're going to take advantage of it. Some spring games, like Anthony said, we'll be talking some football, college football stuff, particularly Kentucky stuff, more on the second half in the weeks coming up. But yeah, next week will be some football talk. NFL football, NFL draft is coming up, and I always enjoy the NFL draft. So, and my
Oh, good
team, the
stuff.
Dolphins, they got a lot of picks this year. So I'll be heavily invested in the NFL draft this year. All right, one more thing, Anthony, before we get out of here. I just want to touch on it. I've just read these stories and I haven't even seen the pictures, but the whole Dianna Russini, the reporter, the journalist, whatever you call her, she's been an NFL, what do you call it? Reporter, journalist? I think she's a
Sideline
journalist.
reporter.
Hey, no, I think technically is more like a journalist, I think.
Okay.
Whatever she is, you know who she if you're an NFL fan, you've at least heard the name and you probably know the face. She's been around for a long time. She was on ESPN for a while. She went to the Athletics. She's been there for a while. Pictures taken, I guess, last weekend of her and Mike Vrabel holding hands in bathing suits somewhere and hugging. I've not even seen the pictures, have not even seen them. But both of them are married. And of course, that's caused an uproar uh, in the online, basically. Anthony, did you hear about it?
I did, but it don't matter because he's winning right now. If I could tell any young fan that's trying to learn about sports one thing I've learned over the years, winning makes a lot of problems go away. I don't care if you're in youth sports, coaching young travel ball or little league, or you're in the pros. When you win, you have no problems. When you start losing, your problems arise. Quick example, I felt like Justin Tucker with the Ravens. There's a lot of other examples. These guys only get in trouble when they start playing bad. When they're playing good, the trouble gets covered up. So if you win, you won't have no problems. So if you're a coach, a player, just win.
Yeah, I agree. And there has been, from everything I've seen, no pushback on New England side for Vrabel. But Dianna Russini did. She resigned. She stepped away from the Athletic because of the pressure. They were investigating the situation because, of course, as a journalist, they don't want they don't they don't want any kind of conflict of interest for many of reasons. Credibility being one of them, but there's a whole nother side of this. There's rumors and people talking like, she's been kind of, I think in the last few weeks or months, been causing maybe a little bit of uproar about the whole AJ Brown situation in Philly. And some people think that she was maybe doing some stuff on purpose to possibly get AJ Brown traded to the Patriots. So there's a whole nother side to this. I don't have any clue if any of that's true, but these are the reasons why those relationships, the Athletic or ESPN is not going to want that happening. The Patriots don't care so much. Right,
Vrabel
we know what the Patriots do. They deflate balls. They'll spy on you. They'll their owner goes and
parlors.
the Patriots don't give a shit, but the Athletic does. The Athletic does, and I hate that. Look, both of these people are married. Okay, there is another side to that. They're both married, so it's a bad look. I say that when I haven't even seen the pictures, but if the pictures are what you saw the picture, Anthony,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
are they
I seen
hugging
them at the
or
pool. I seen them at the pool together.
was it
This is a thing.
a hug or a holding hands that you
No, I
saw?
just seen them hanging out together. The picture I
Okay.
seen them just kind of laying out at the pool together, but they were definitely looked like they were together. Um, Vrabel is so desperate. He wants to prove Tennessee so wrong. He's willing to do anything. He's playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. He got with her just so he could get her to plant that negative seed with AJ Brown. It's a chess game, dude. It's a chess game.
And it might have started back in Tennessee because another thing I read was that Dianna Russini covered Mike Vrabel for like 2 years when he was in Tennessee. So there's no telling if something's going on, how long it's been going on.
No doubt.
Who knows how that's going to play out in their personal lives, but it is a story right now. Figured I'd mention it, but yeah, the big takeaway from that is the Patriots don't give a shit.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
They never have. All right, Anthony, you got anything else?
That's it, guys. Thanks for checking us out. Sorry I missed last week. Vacation was nice, so allowed me to recharge. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Check us out on all of our other stuff. YouTube, TikTok, all that good jazz. Charlie will go over that with us. But as always, guys, I appreciate you tuning in because it means a lot to me because this is a hobby that I would love to turn into something bigger, but will that ever happen? Who knows? But right now it's a hobby and I put, our time into it. Charlie does his. We put our time, we work regular jobs. So when you guys support us, it really means a lot. We're not making money. It's nice to know that maybe we're getting some fans. So we appreciate any support we get.
Absolutely. And these fans that are listening, they're going to help us make this something, Anthony. And me and you work regular jobs. Josh, on the other hand, I don't know what he does. I don't know where his money's coming from, but
Pope hired for recruiting.
One more guess, Anthony. If he's not recruiting, I'm going to say Onan is that's Irish, right? Maybe he went to the homeland. Maybe Josh has never been to the homeland, and maybe he's in Ireland. That's my last guess. Josh is in Ireland. You got one last one?
Been abducted. Might have been abducted.
He got kidnapped. Well, he's at least been. If he's got kidnapped, kidnapped.
They sent me a ransom note, like saying, we're demanding like $100,000 from Blitz the Bookie. I said, good luck.
Josh, you're screwed, bro. We'll try. We could start a GoFundMe, maybe. But yeah, if they're relying on just Blitz the Bookie funds to get him out, we definitely got to start a GoFundMe. So hey, guys, hit up the GoFundMe account, blitzthebookie.com. I'm joking. We don't have a GoFundMe, but guys, appreciate everybody. As always, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Next week, hopefully Josh will be back. If he's back from the homeland or if we came up with enough money to get him out, we'll hopefully all three be back, maybe even in studio. We'll see you guys next week. Blitz the Bookie.
See ya. Want to get on camera, come here? Say hello. Say hello, Blitz the Bookie. Say hello, Blitz the Bookie. All right, no.
Charlie got the mic, he's dropping facts all day. Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the Bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Hustle deals on the line. Charlie Scassy's gonna make you shine. Anthony's heart where the numbers combine. Put your cash down, ride the incline. Blitz the Bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. From the tip off to the final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. The Bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a